Malaysia has reached a breaking point. Anti-refugee rhetoric is everywhere. Online in the comments section, offline in everyday interactions. Now, debates are often made mutually exclusive to topics such as politics, immigration, and security, when in reality, they are deeply interconnected and shaped by broader social and economic forces. On the ground, it's about people, families trying to survive, children growing up in uncertainty, and communities trying to build a future in a country where they remain largely invincible.
Ini isu legasi yang dah sekian lama. Perbuatan untuk melonggokkan semua kesalahan kepada government of the day, itu tidak wajar pada saya. Dia pelarian tak sama dengan pendatang asing. Pendatang asing ni dia masuk tanpa dokumen ataupun dia tinggal sini. Kalau begitu kita senang, kita ada akta immigration. Okay. Refugees ini kerana ada konflik di negara dia, ada push factor di negara dia dan ada pull factor di negara kita.
Some argue refugees compete with locals and that Malaysia has already done enough. But experts say the bigger issue isn't simply whether refugees stay or leave. It's whether the country continues managing them without a proper system.
Malaysia today hosts more than 215,000 registered refugees and asylum seekers. Nearly 194,000 are from Myanmar, over 126,000 are Rohingya, and almost 65,000 are children. So the question is no longer whether refugees are here. They are.
The problem is we don't have the mechanism. I mentioned this thing many times. Where is the mechanism that control the refugees, stateless, asylum seekers in one group? So then easy for us to monitor. And for the documented or undocumented, when they are refugees, they are undocumented. Simple. The documented, normally we are talking about the foreign workers or foreign immigrants. But in this case, with these three categories, they are special. The Rohingya, they are the people of Myanmar. The only thing that the Myanmar suddenly using their act, which is put who actually the Myanmar citizen and not include them. So they become stateless. When they become stateless, the Myanmar junta can always kick them out. How they kick them out? Genocide, crimes against humanity. That's what's happened in Arakan. You need to work together with the international bodies to ensure the development of them and also how we can help them to transfer to the third countries.
For many refugee children in Malaysia, education exists largely outside the formal system, often built on fragile foundations of limited funding, volunteer teachers, and uncertain recognition. But these learning centers are more than classrooms. They provide protection against the everyday vulnerabilities these children face beyond the classroom walls.
Yeah, I remember when I attended one of the NGO gatherings, humanitarian NGO gatherings. One guy stood up and was telling me that tak guna puan tolong. Kalau buka sekolah pun tak perlu ajar science or mathematics. They're not going to be scientists. They're not going to be mathematicians. You just only need to teach them to read and write. Full stop. Read, write and count. The 3M. So I was just keeping quiet and smiling. And that was really, I took it up as a challenge. And Alhamdulillah, we tried our best, even though without proper legal framework, without proper assistance or guidance from the Ministry of Education or those kind of things. We struggle with the dedication among the teachers and also among our close networks. We were able to prove that they're wrong. He is wrong. One thing is that they are here. You're talking about intergenerational poverty, illiteracy issues, and so on. And now we see that most likely they're going to remain here at least for another 5 years until resettlement program resume. So we need to say that they're going to remain here. So without proper education, of course, they're going to be social issues, whatever it is, and it's going to affect the locals at the same time. So we need to say that because what we want to do is that we want to educate them to be the future leaders of their own community.
Tugas UNHCR ni ada dua. Pertama, mendaftar. Yang kedua, menempatkan mereka di negara ketiga. Itu tugas hakiki dia, mendaftar, kemudian cari negara ketiga. Status mereka ini masih lagi tertakluk kepada berjaya atau tidak mereka ditempatkan di negara ketiga oleh UNHCR. Okay. Yang kedua, kalau kita ada pendataan kita sendiri, kalau berlaku pelanggaran undang-undang dalam negara kita, kita boleh ambil tindakan sebab kita ada data mereka.
The DPP is a biometric registration system being introduced to improve documentation, strengthen identity verification, and enhance national oversight.
Officials say that better data could lead to better policy making, from security screening to labour planning and enforcement. But registration alone does not answer every question. Stakeholders want better transparency.
While the move is lauded as a promising step toward more structured refugee governance, the Human Rights Commission of Malaysia said limited public information about the DPP has already led to confusion and scam risks at the grassroots level. Refugee governance must go beyond immigration control, with clear safeguards, due process, and better public communication.
No, because the fact remains that these refugees are here already. And when I talk about 180,000, 190,000 refugees, based on records, about 80% are of employable category. Yeah. So in that sense, of course, we can say we're talking about at least about 150,000 refugees that can actually be formally employed in various sectors. Yeah. But of course, it is something that I think we need to have a lot of clarity as employers to say that, okay, look, what are the terms and conditions? What are the kind of regulations that the government want to put in? Are we supposed to pay any levy? Are we supposed to pay any social security, EPF, thing like that? So what is the status? Is there any medical checkup? Is there a requirement to give accommodation, thing like that? Things like, of course, if you look at the total cost of employment, we would say that logically it should be cheaper for employers to actually use or employ the refugees that are already here in the country, as compared to bringing in new foreign workers. So when we say that as employers, we would prefer them to be formally recognized, to be allowed to be employed in the formal sector. Meaning that, yes, we would like to take them as under the employer-employee kind of relationship, so that the employer will, of course, has their duties to actually make sure that they are covered by all the employment terms, the social security, and of course, the employee is entitled to their rights as employees.
Public sentiment does not exist in a vacuum. It is shaped by years of policy gaps, weak oversight, and unresolved frustrations. Yet, even amid the anger, there remains a need for moral clarity in how the issue is approached before the country completely loses its balance.
Migration policies are hardening globally as anti-refugee sentiment grows. Yet, the pressure for stronger cooperation with third countries to ease resettlement bottlenecks cannot be ignored. Externally, ASEAN faces increasing calls to take a firmer position on Myanmar amid widening regional security concerns, even as progress on resettlement remains slow and politically complex. And on the local front, the challenge is not just policy, it is discipline of narrative to ensure governance is not shaped by fear or distortion.
So Malaysia actually in being compressed with the issue. Okay, so I do believe that in this case, no matter what, we have to think about our sovereignty and our security. Whether we like it or not, we have to talk to the superpower and all those countries that involved, help us to take them.